Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's live broadcast. I am Tracy Bryant Swint, also known as the Womb Minister, Self-Love Guru, Sacred Yoni Alchemist, founder and lead educator of Love My Womb Academy, owner of Sensual Honey Feminine Wellness, and the creatrix of Sensual Honey Sweet Yoni Tea. And welcome and thank you for joining us. We have an amazing guest. First off, let you know something. I always give honor to my teachers and my mentors, and I give honor to the institutions that help provide me with this healing modalities and this education. So I have our goddess mother, Queen Sanovia Muhammad, with us today. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, I am a student, a proud student of the Yoni Steam Institute. And Mama Sanovia is one of the founders and also one of our teachers. So I have her here today. And what better way to represent, honey, is with your beautiful mentor and teacher. So when she called and told me about her book, I'm like, oh, I agree with you. We need to get this out there. We need to tell the people about the book, and we need to discuss what the book is about. Now, to let you know a little bit, it's about domestic violence and the journey to forgiveness. So this is definitely one of our womb health issues, going into relationships that are abusive in any area, whether it be emotional, physical, financial, mental, is definitely a stagnation to our womb space. So right now we're going to give Mama Sanovia the floor, and we're going to ask her some questions about her amazing book and where you can find her at her book signings. Okay, Mama Sanovia, how you doing, beloved?
I'm wonderful. I'm so grateful, so thankful.
Yes, yes, yes. First of all, see, I know you're a world traveler.
Yes.
And I need to know some of the international places you've been, because, honey, that passport stays hot.
Well, most recently I just climbed Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. So I was there. Yes, did the mountain. It
And
was
how
a
many,
journey.
Mama Sanovia, how many kids and grandkids do you have, baby?
I have 6 of my womb and I have 7 grands.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you climbing Kilimanjaro.
I did 19,000 feet up there. It was phenomenal. But
Oh my.
I had community behind me. That's what made it possible.
Yes, yes. Community does make things possible because it's encouragement and support in your mission.
Exactly.
So let's talk about somewhere else you've been. What other parts of the world have you seen, beloved?
So I've been to many parts of Africa. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Ghana. I've been to Senegal, Tanzania now. I just got back from Thailand a month ago. Thailand was beautiful. I've been to South America, been to Bali. So that's about it.
Okay, now let me tell you one thing that
Yeah,
I love about you, Mama Sanovia. You don't let no
yeah.
grass grow up under your feet. You gonna move around. You gonna take advantage of this life. This life you've been
Yeah,
living right here. Oh, you
yeah.
gonna make sure you gonna make the best of it and do the best of it. And I just want to tell you out there, travel is so important. If
Yes.
you can get a passport and see outside of your country, it will open your mind up to a whole new world and a whole new way of thinking. Let's talk a little bit about that, Mama Sanovia. How important is travel for the individual?
Yeah, you're saying it. I mean, like you said, until you see something different, you don't know anything different. So getting outside of the comfort of what you know opens up a whole nother level of intelligence, of compassion, of
Right.
gives you strength. You're sharing you with other people in the world who see us differently now, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So we impact the world and the world impacts us. So it's very important
Yes.
to move, to leave, to and to be open to those experiences.
Right,
It's
right, right.
experience that you live, and it's so dynamic for the person doing it.
Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about your book. So,
Yeah.
how has travel encouraged the writing of this book?
Well, for me, because I wrote the book at a time that was very demanding and very emotional, it gave me a time to get outside of my norm and be able to think more openly, more freely. That's what it did. So I was able to concentrate on what I needed to be doing as opposed to what I was hearing from the world that I needed to be doing. So travel gave me the opportunity to not have to have certain kind of dialogues, calls, so that I could go inward and really sit with the things that I needed to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that. It's
Mm-hmm.
necessary, especially with you transitioning into this new phase of an author.
Yeah. Hey. Well, I must say, this might be the only book, because this book was about healing myself. This book
Yes.
was really about how to heal. I think about people who are suicidal, people who have so much weight on them that they don't know what to do except to maybe get out of the world completely. When you're that troubled about something, you almost gotta go somewhere.
Yes.
To listen inside, to listen
Yes, to go in.
to Goddess energy, to listen to that. I mean, it's just it can't think inside of turmoil, So
Right.
just getting on a plane and moving kind of gives the mind a way to come down.
Right. Right. So tell us the name of your book and what is the premise? What is your book about?
So
and how did you become inspired?
It's a journey to forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Disowning 3 generations of violence. Okay. So it's about my grandmama Pearl, whom I never met, who was convicted of murder in Alabama in the 1920s, who was raped by the warden in that prison and gave birth to my mama. Yes, who had to give her away to someone else to raise her. And then she died in prison at the age of 36. So my mom never got to know her mama. So now we're talking about womb trauma.
Yes. Yeah, generational womb trauma.
Yes, and we're talking about institutional violence in her case. And then it's about my mama, who was killed by her husband in 2013 at 80 years of age. Battered to death. And then it's about my mother, who was raped by my father at 15 years old, who didn't know how to be a mama to me. Womb trauma. And then it's about the other kind of relationships that mothers and daughters have sometimes, based on some stuff that happened that we don't even know has happened, and how it impacts. It impacted my mother's rape, impacted how she could be a mother to me. My looking like my father impacted how my mother was able to relate to me.
Yes.
So you don't have this nurturing, loving, even though you have some of that, but you know that there's something happening. And it took the death of my mother to really sit with, how come my mother didn't like my black face? How come my mother, I wasn't like, the things that she would say to me, I knew something was wrong. But when I sat down after she was killed and I thought about a 15-year-old raped, having a baby in the 40s, coming from the history she came from.
Yes.
She's been tormented her whole life about her father being white, her mother being in prison, and now here she is with me, and she don't know what to do with that.
Right.
But I didn't get it, but now I got it. So I wrote this book, lastly, to hope that there will be somebody who reads my story
and
will be able to work through their own trials and
Mm.
that's the hope, you know.
Woo.
So it took me, a while to sit with it and to write it. Um, and I had to come to a place where I could forgive myself, because when my stepfather, and they had been married 50 years, when he killed her, a couple of days before it happened, or maybe a month before it happened, I told her, you know what, I don't want to hear it anymore. You got a home here, you got a home
Mm.
there, you got money, you got resources, you need to leave. So I'm gonna just wait for the call that he done killed you. So that bothered.
Oh, baby. Yes. Oh, yes. I
Wow.
can only
Yeah.
imagine how you felt when you got that call, what, 3 days later?
Yes, yes. So, and it was like,
Woo.
wow, I can't. So now I know, when I talk to women, I talk to sisters, I say, we can never give up on each other.
Right.
Never know at what point we're able to impact somebody's life, but we cannot walk away. It is not, we can't not do it.
It's not an
No,
option.
it's not an option.
Not an option.
Otherwise,
Yes.
you live in this grief and this turmoil. If I had done it, should I have done it? Why did I? All of this stuff. So that's why I had to write the book. I had to
Okay.
forgive myself. I
Wow.
had to forgive myself. And then I had to go back and forgive my mother for all the things she couldn't do. She did the best she could.
With
And I
what
had,
she had and with what she knew.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
had to forgive that. So the writing was a journey of forgiveness, first of myself, and then of her, and then everybody else who do the best they can.
I
I
mean,
was here.
Mama
I'm sorry.
Sanovia, I'm listening to this book and it just sounds like a very powerful piece of crafted literature that is
Mm,
giving true accounts to the true nature of who you are today and how you became who you are through
mm,
that trauma, through that abuse, and through some worrying and working through your levels of forgiveness and having to forgive your mom. So how long did it take for you to write this book? And tell us about the journey of writing that book, because I know there was a lot of start and stop. It was a lot of tea time. It was a lot of crying. It was a lot of spiritual bathing. It was a lot of woo-sign and yoga poses and tell us about the journey of writing this powerful piece
yeah,
that you have
yeah,
presented to the world.
yes. So it's a journey to forgiveness. So we are on this road. It's a process.
Yes.
So a friend of mine told me about an organization. I think they're called NAMO. It's a writing organization, and they say that you can write a book in a month. So November was the month. November
Okay.
2016 was the month. I sat down, I made a commitment that for that month, I was going to see if I could write this book. Well, what I did in that month, I got the basis of the book down. Like, I had the outline
The
of it,
structure.
the structure of it. That
Mm-hmm.
took a month. However, from November to the following November, when the book got released, it took me each story, like I have my grandmother's story, and
Yes.
I had to sit with, what is a 20-year-old on death row thinking? How is she processing getting raped by the warden and not having no backup? They convicted my grandmother and four other people, four men, of these murders that they called them the axe murder gang. They gave them a drug which is illegal now, to get them to confess to something that they did not do.
Wow.
She was supposed to be hung, and then the governor at that time did not believe in the death penalty, so he commuted that to life in prison for her, which was one thing, but she
Mm.
stood to be hung. I'm thinking, you're 20 years old. What could you be thinking? And then at age 30, she has this birth, and my mom is taken from her by her sister. What are you thinking? How are you processing? So, the only parts that I had to really go deep in the book was talking in her voice.
Yes.
And I had to sit with that, I know, a month, just breathing in what that locked up, that, what that would feel like and
What
what
did
I
that
would say.
What did that look like for you? Did
Oh my
that mean it was a lot of channeling going on with you and your grandmother?
It was channeling. It was so much channeling. And the only picture we have is that picture that says she's an axe murderer. When I look at that picture, I see myself in her. It's amazing. So I sat and I talked and I called her energy forth. And it's one of the powerful pieces in the book. So
Okay.
after I did that, and that wasn't my story, like that ain't what I'm trying to tell right now.
Right, right. But a
My
lot was
mother.
coming through. A lot was coming
Yes.
through because you need to know information and have this
Yes.
energy present in the book.
Exactly. And
Yes.
people always say, I mean, there's so many stories to tell. Like I had to get off of her story because I couldn't finish the book. Like it's so much investigation for that story alone, which is
Right.
a story that needs to be written and told as well. And then I had to move to my mother and sit with that. And then I had to move to that whole rape thing where she says 4 people held her down and my father is sitting on top of her and she's fighting and she's bleeding and then he says it's not true. I would never do that. And it took her years to get him to admit that he actually raped her. But at the same time, they're allowing me to visit him. I know him, so I'm confused too. Like, okay, what is this? So I
Yes.
really sit with the fact that my father, whom I'm just like, could do such a thing. What kind of man can do that?
So did you build a relationship with your father?
Relationship with my father. I buried my father.
Oh, wow.
My children
Okay.
know my father. But it's almost like, she didn't dwell on it. She said, this is what happened. And then it's funny because after she died, I went and talked to her best friend who just recently passed. And I said, did my mother ever say that to you? And she said, I know he raped her because she told me when it happened. And we told her, well, just put it aside. He's going off to the army,
Woo!
Da, da, da. They didn't
That's
know.
a common
Yes.
piece of it, so-called advice.
Yeah.
Put
Just
it
let
aside.
go.
You're gonna be fine.
You're gonna
Matter
be
of fact,
fine.
it happened to me. It happened
Yeah.
to mama. It
Yeah.
happened to grandmama. You're gonna
Hello.
be all right. Just move on.
Just move on. How do you move on? That's the point. Where's that strength? But my mother was able to, she had a successful life. She's a PhD. She was the first Muslim principal of a school in New York, but she had something going on with this man that she could not walk away. And
Couldn't
at the
shake it.
point that she was willing to walk away is when he killed her. And that's what the information said. It's when they actually believe you going, is done. If they gonna do it, that is when it most likely to happen. So I had to sit with my father and my mother and do that. And then there was a point, I tell you, where I thought, I can't write it. It's way too much. And I went to my sister friend here in Birmingham and I read that rape scene to her and I said, I don't know how to move forward. And she said, did somebody hire you to write the book? I said, no. She said, do you have a deadline? I said, no. She said, then take your time.
Yes.
Put it aside. Let it go until
Let
you
it breathe for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the most amazing piece of information at that time for me. I was like, right.
I can imagine because you had a lot of emotional.
Yes.
You was going in and out of anger, sadness, grief,
all of that.
Betrayal.
Yes.
Shame, guilt,
yes.
fear. You were attacking
right.
all of these emotions and sending yourself through this emotional roller coaster for this information to share with us. And that in itself took a lot of courage.
Yes, thank you.
To feel, because you felt a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that wasn't even your own.
Right. That's true.
So thank you for that, because it sounds like this information is something that very valuable. It needs to be out there, especially for those of us who are enduring or experiencing levels of abuse, whether it's self-afflicted abuse.
All right, that too. And the interesting about my mama, after she was killed, like my mother was visiting me. Like I would wake up and she'd be at the bottom of my bed and she'd be saying, "You better take care of this. Because if somebody did this to you, I would take care of it." And then I had friends who saying, "If it was my mama, oh, he'd be dead." It was like, what? I don't know what to do with this. But my mother was very fiery and she was very strong in so many ways. Yeah, I was like, that is not me, but I'm feeling guilty now because everybody else would have took care of it, but I can't. So I'm carrying that. And I'm supposed to be strong and revolutionary and all those things, all those adjectives that I describe myself. And I allow somebody to kill my mom and I don't take care of it. What's wrong with me?
So let's go into that. What's going on with that? How have you shifted in your thinking, your spirit, and how is spirit dealing with you about that matter? Because the Mama Sanovia that I met about 5 years ago, the Mama Sanovia I know, honey, I love, the creator of the bean pie.
Yes. You remember the bean pie? Something.
She would, so what has shifted in your world and in your thinking and in your spirit to where now you have allowed spirit to handle this? What's going on?
So a couple of things happen. Well, one, I understand that there's strength in even forgiveness. There's strength in seeing and acting in a way that's more humane than killing, than being destructive, even myself. Suicide, that there's something strong in the individual that can walk through it, live it, and understand that they are capable, but choose not to be responsive in that kind of way. So
there's power there.
There's power there. I had a spiritual teacher who told me, it was very funny, a Kemetic brother, and his wife. I talked to him about that spirit coming to me and telling me what I had to do and how I felt. And they said, there's two ways to deal with spirit. When the energies from the outer world come to you and they want you to do something that's outside of your own human nature, you have to say to them, give me something else, because I can't do that. That is not what I can do. But I can do some other things that might be just as important or effective. Yeah.
Yes.
And then that next time my mother came to me, I was like, look, I cannot do that. But I can do this, and I love you all of this.
So Mama came back to you from her transition state, sitting at the edge of your bed telling you, you better rise up and handle it.
I better handle it. I mean, my mama... Wow.
The fire hadn't left. Yeah. The fire hadn't left. Yeah. The revolution was still alive.
So we got an understanding, though. We got an understanding. I write about the book because I had a dream that came to me that was about my mother coming home to me. And when she came home, I was doing a yoga class. And in the dream, I actually played with her with this yoga pose on the ground, me and her laughing. And she said, I've been to Bali and I'm teaching children, and, that conversation. And then 3 days after the conversation, I get a text from a teacher of mine, a yoga teacher, who's doing a retreat in Bali. So I jumped right on that. I have a dream. It comes up. I'm headed to Bali.
I remember when you went to Bali. But do you remember our time together about 4 or 5 years ago? And we were doing a reading?
Yes.
Do you remember our reading? And I told you, Mama Sanovia, you about to travel. You about to go international.
Yes.
And you was like, I hope so. I said, trouble is all in these cards, Mama Sanovia.
Oh, wow. Well, it's been nonstop, let me tell you. But it was on that Bali trip that I really got connected to my own energy and what I'm capable of.
Yes.
And that I'm okay to say, this is what I can do. And this is it, you know, and be okay with that. And be okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So that
for those of you who are just tuning in, we are here with Mama's Goddess Sanovia Muhammad, who is talking about her new book, The Journey to Forgiveness, and it's what is it, Mama Sanovia? 3 generations of what?
Disowning 3 generations of violence.
Disowning 3 generations of violence. Where can we get this book, Mama Sanovia?
Yes, so you can get it at www.sanoviamuhammad.com. If you're in Atlanta, you can come hear the reading and signing at the Yoga Skills Kemetic Yoga Studio in Atlanta on Ralph D. Abernathy. I'll be there on Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
This Friday.
About the book this Friday. Talking about the book, reading some of the excerpts, and then having conversation with whomever shows up. 6 to 8 this Friday. And if you can't be there, then definitely SanoviaMuhammad.com.
SanoviaMuhammad.com. How long does it take for the shipping of the book?
It's 7 days.
How much is the book?
The book is $20.
Okay.
Online, you do pay shipping and, you know, for the shipping. At the reading, it's $20, you know.
Okay.
And I barter too. So if you got something, you know, a $20 value, I'm with you. I'll take that. We can work.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit how this book deals with us healing from healing our wounds, with the connection of abuse. How does this come in connection? How does this come together?
In the book, I have a lot of affirmations around healing work. The one thing is that once we lose the fear that keeps us silent around abuse, whether it's verbal, sexual, physical, emotional, once we're able to voice it, is the beginning of healing it.
Yeah.
So we got to lose the fear around that. That's the first thing. And then we got to release ourselves from the shame and guilt by telling our own stories in our own voices.
We have to. Yes.
Tell our stories.
Yes.
And the women who have read this book have come to me and said, that is my story. I know what you're talking about. I talk about a rape when I was raped and how the community dealt with me. I talk about that. So we have to give voice to our truths without fear. And then as the women who hear it, we have to support us. We have to support each other. And then we have to forgive ourselves for the role we think we played or the role we might have played in participating. Because there is some accountability
and responsibility there.
Yes. So that happens too. So I talk about that in the book. I talk about how yoga, meditation, prayer, sisterhood, how all of that gives us these tools that we need to break loose, because we don't want to keep reinventing this over and over. And we
in our relationships. Yes.
Yes. We have to take that power in our own hands. Yes. And that does not absolve the perpetrators of abuse. That doesn't give them a way out because we're dealing with it. But I know for sure that one of the ways to put people on the, well, I say the auction block necessarily. Like
on blast.
On blast. That's a good word. Yeah.
Put them on blast, Mama Sanovia.
There's this fear that somebody's going to know that I'm doing this.
Right.
That's not going to support it. You know, many people will support it.
And that's why the abusers will usually try to isolate you.
Yes.
They will isolate you because they don't want you to connect with anybody that cares for you and become exposed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exposure is a huge thing for some people. So when it's more about us saying it and understanding that this is what happens. You know, I did a reading in Birmingham. It's so interesting. And there was an audience. There was a woman there that I know. And when we went through what abuse looks like, she was like, Dag, I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship. I mean,
and a lot of people, don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she thought, yes, a lot of people don't know. So she said she thought it was normal.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is what happens. I mean, it hadn't gotten physical, but it's so close to getting physical that that's what might be what would have awakened her. However, you know, there's these little signs way before it gets physical sometimes that we can look at and hear and listen and see, you know, the banging, the knocking on the walls, the cursing, the stomping, all of this stuff.
This violence outside of the actual contact.
Yes.
The hitting.
Yes.
Yes, the physical contact.
The physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, I don't even know. I can't even go home now. I got to really think about this.
Wow.
What's this? I mean, I don't know. You know, you have to do what you have to do. But she's like,
right.
I have to take some time and really look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And she did, you know, and we've talked, and it's, you know, people are in their own processes. And I could tell my mother every day, you need to leave. And I did. I said, you need to leave. And she said, I am. But I got to do just one more thing. Not yet.
Whew, yeah. This is deep, y'all. This domestic violence in the home is deep. Keeping silent about it is deep. If you guys don't know, I am a survivor of domestic violence, 2 relationships. First relationship was 5 years. The second relationship was 11 years. And I got with the second relationship to protect me from the first relationship and ended up repeating the cycle. So it is very real. And I know the effects and the scars and the emotional setback that it can take you through. And then if they are narcissists, which most of them are, the emotional and the mental scarring that comes with that a lot of times are hard to shake back from. I suggest going to your local women's shelter and finding help. Get with a friend who supports your help, your healing and your freedom. And it's hard to detach. I know it is, because there's a mental, they play on your psyche and make you feel like don't nobody want you. Don't nobody care. You can't go to nobody. Ain't nobody been around for you yet. But that's because you isolated me from everybody. So please go out to your local women's shelter. Find support groups that help with this matter, because this is a big, big issue in our community that many of us have not exposed and that we're not bringing to a head to discuss. Domestic violence is real. Domestic violence is real. So give us a little bit more information about you being here this Friday. What is that date, Mama Sanovia?
It's the 27th. It's Friday the 27th. I'm going to grab something with the actual address so I can give
good.
The address.
Good.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are just tuned in, I'm here with Mother Goddess Sanovia Muhammad, co-founder of the Yoni Steam Institute, my alma mater. So if you guys don't know, I am a proud student of the Yoni Steam Institute. This is one of our queen mothers and my mentor. So she is going to tell you where you can meet her here in Atlanta this Friday. And so that you can come to the book discussion and the book signing. Go ahead and give us that information, Mama Sanovia.
So it's the Yoga Skills Kemetic Yoga Studio. It's at 1536 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard in Atlanta from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
6
I
to
will
8.
have refreshments. The book will be on sale, $20. And I barter. And I want to just see y'all and talk. Even if you don't buy the book, there might be some information we can share, some resources that we can share for people who are going through it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
1 in 4 women are being killed daily. 2 deaths in Birmingham this past week from somebody who's supposed to love you. And they say, till death do us part. And death,
they mean.
yes, death does.
Yes. Yes, yes. Well, once again, I want to thank you, Goddess Mama Sanovia. Thank you for all of your wisdom, your knowledge. Thank you for bringing the book to us. Thank you for opening up and bringing us your grandmother's voice, your mother's voice, and your voice. This is a journey to forgiveness.
Yes.
From our Goddess Mother, Sanovia Muhammad. You can check out the book at SanoviaMuhammad.com. Thank you, beloved. We love you.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to catch us tomorrow on Wednesday for Womb Wellness Wednesday at 12 p.m. right here on Facebook, Tracy Bryant Swint, or Tracy Bryant Swint, the Womb Minister. All right, check us out, lovemywombacademy.com. Bye.